This segment of the news is brought to you by Sun Oil Limited.
Ambassadors and consuls general have 90 days to wrap up ongoing affairs, according to the government's press secretary, Clint Watson, on Wednesday.
The Prime Minister Davis has made it intentionally his mandate to allow there to be a smooth transition, allow persons who are in office to continue working as they wind up their affairs so the business of the Bahamas internationally can continue and be transitioned smoothly.
This, Mr. Watson assures, was done as a gesture of good faith and government continuity. With face-to-face learning for public school students potentially being back on the table, the Pan American Health Organization warning that countries should proceed with caution when it comes to reopening schools. Director of Health Emergencies, Dr. Ciro Ugarte, urges schools to monitor all students' health symptoms if schools are to reopen, as most students remain unvaccinated.
Reopening schools and universities, those decisions are very difficult. Trade-off between epidemiologic consequences and the emotional, educational, developmental, and social needs of children and their families. Into the future, there are difficult questions about what controls can be implemented in the schools, but particularly, meanwhile, the vaccination coverage is not at the levels that we want. Using masks, physical distancing, disinfection of hands are the paramount measures that we must implement when we reopen universities and schools.
In summary, Dr. Ugarte says that school settings should be a potential source of COVID-19 infections that can spread throughout the community and can significantly impact population-level mortality.
Under the age of 16, and most of the students remain unvaccinated. There is a significant reduction in death rate where all classmates, for example, undergo home isolation upon detection of a single symptomatic case. That means that active surveillance and monitoring of the symptoms of the students is highly recommended. And it is needed. And mask wearing, together with social distancing and increased ventilation, showed a similar, very positive impact on transmission and mortality.
On Tuesday, just before the weekly cabinet meeting, Minister of State for Education, Technical and Vocational Training, Zane Lightbourne, said that face-to-face learning could return to our schools as early as the end of the year. He said that the Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Health and Wellness will work in tandem to see the best course of action for our students and teachers. A group of Cuban nationals were apprehended in Bahamian waters on Tuesday afternoon in the southern Bahamas by members of the Royal Bahamas Defense Force during a routine patrol. HMBS Holly Gray, under the command of Lieutenant Theo Berkeley, intercepted a 21-foot sports fishing vessel approximately 14 miles east of Key Santo Domingo shortly after 2 p.m. Defense Force officials say on board that vessel was a group of Cuban nationals who were subsequently removed and taken on board the Defense Force craft. They will be brought to the capital and handed over to the relevant authorities. The Cuban embassy has since been notified. The Royal Bahamas Defense Force says they remain committed to protecting the territorial integrity of the Bahamas and keeping our borders secured. Stay with us. Our final stories are up next.
This segment of the news has been brought to you by Sun Oil Limited.